Judith Hill, tell me about this track. The new project is called Letters from a Black Widow. Tell me about this track that we're listening to right now.
Yeah, so this is the title track, Black Widow, which really kind of sums up the project. It was a bold move I made to really kind of dig into some pain and trauma that I had faced coming out of Prince's death. And being called a Black Widow was a really, really difficult thing for me. But putting together this song was a very healing and powerful thing for me to do, because it finally gave me a chance to give myself permission to speak on it and find some liberation and some.
When you say being called a Black Widow was difficult for you, who called you a Black Widow?
It was a lot of people, mainly on social media, people I didn't know, just the public community, based on like conspiracy stuff. But it was a very hurtful thing, because it was something that I just, I kind of like, it triggered me,
Yeah. When you say it triggered you, tell me more about that part.
Well, I think growing up, I've always wanted to be somebody that was, I grew up in a very, spiritual and religious family. Wanted to be a good person, wanted to be somebody who, didn't mess up or sin or make mistakes and so I've always that was like my biggest fear, was being bad or doing something wrong, and that being like something that directly defines who I am. And so I've always struggled with that, and being a perfectionist, and always struggled with that. But being called a Black Widow was like a direct kind of core message that I might have, as a kid, like those negative voices coming back. And it was sort of like my worst nightmare, really.
People can be mean, to be sure. We'll circle back to the Black Widow thing and the pain and hurt you felt when people called you that after Prince's untimely and tragic death. We'll come back to that, I promise. But since you mentioned your upbringing, tell me more about Judith Hill. Tell me more about your upbringing. And for those who always ask, what is she? You know what I'm asking, right?
Right,
What is
right.
she? So what is she? What is Judith Hill? And tell me about that upbringing that you were starting to tell me about a moment ago. Tell me more.
Well, yeah. Well, so I was born here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, he was born in Pacoima, and I grew up in a very musical family. Both my parents are musicians. My mom, she's from Tokyo, Japan, and so they met together in like a funk band. And I grew up just
So
raised
your
in
mom is
music.
Japanese,
My mom is
and your dad
Japanese.
is?
He's black.
He's Black. Okay, got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was raised in a very musical community in which it kind of got me started. My dad used to be Billy Preston's bass player, and Sly and the Family Stone, Rose Stone, Freddie Stone, and all these people were kind of surrounding us. So
Yeah.
this is like, I was very grateful and fortunate to have like such a rich,
Yeah.
musical upbringing.
Yeah. Miles, when we step aside just a second, just because you mentioned it, I want to hear nothing from Billy Preston in a few minutes. I just want to hear it since she mentioned Billy Preston, and we'll play some more of her stuff for us in this hour. But just give me some Billy Preston, right? I just want to hear it since I love Billy Preston. The fifth Beatle, as they called him, the fifth Beatle.
Absolutely.
So you grew up in this family, and you got all these talented artists around you: Billy Preston, Sly, the Family Stone, Freddie Stone, others. I guess you didn't have any choice, did you?
Yeah,
It was you got it honest.
I didn't have
Yeah.
any choice. It was
Yeah.
just like, I was like a sponge. I just kind of soaked it up,
So when did you start? I called you a multi-instrumentalist. I can't even say it. Multi-instrumentalist. I can get it out. And you are. So when did you start playing instruments? When did you start singing? When did you know that you weren't just surrounded by this? It wasn't just around you, but it was in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started mainly singing. I sang in the church choirs, school choirs. And my mom, she was a piano teacher for a lot of kids, like a lot of great musicians now that kind of came out of that piano school. So
Go ahead and brag a little bit.
like the Laborios, Abe Laborio Jr., Akil Thompson from Chester Thompson,
Oh, yeah.
Diana, Regina Acuna from Alex Acuna.
Yeah. So your mom did all this teaching.
Yeah, so we had
Okay.
like this little kid jam band. Like we were all like kids, and piano was my first instrument because of that like whole kid community that we had.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got started on the instruments. So
Yeah.
it kind of like worked hand in hand.
Yeah, let me pivot right quick and I'll come back. Given that you are a multi-instrumentalist and Prince was an uber multi-instrumentalist, when you were in his space and saw him playing all these instruments, how did you process that?
Well, for me, I think the biggest thing that was so exciting about that was the fact that he had full control and could create any groove that he wanted to create, any sound, anything. Like, he wasn't at the mercy of anyone else. He could just, like, I want this groove, I want this pocket, I want the bass to do this, and I want, so having that, like, ability to create a song on that level was just really inspiring.
Her name, as you well know, is Judith Hill. As I mentioned earlier, few have had the honor of being in the intimate space, the private space, the personal space of both Prince and Michael Jackson. Judith Hill has had that experience, but she has her own project out. It's a new one called Letters from a Black Widow. June is Black Music Month, so we're celebrating Black genius all month long musically. And since she mentioned Billy Preston, how about some Billy Preston right now on Tavis Smiley?
Agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you've not been feeling yourself lately, then listen up. If your weight loss dreams have turned into weight gain nightmares, listen up. If you've been chasing 20 pounds for 20 years, listen up. It's time for you to get introduced to D-Herbs. D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse is a natural cleansing regimen that can help you lose 20 pounds in just 20 days. The Full Body Cleanse will also boost your immune system and improve your digestion. With summer not around the corner, it's here. You can stop chasing those 20 pounds and propel yourself into a healthier lifestyle. To reboot your system and lose weight right now, go to dherbs.com and order your full body cleanse or call 866-434-3727. If you mention Tavis, you'll get a discount at checkout. dherbs.com. Experience healing.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Did you know that streaming music, ebooks, audiobooks, movies, and more is available for free from the Los Angeles Public Library? With your library card, you can access the latest music and movies, audiobooks and ebooks, graphic novels, comic books, magazines, and more. If you don't have a library card and live in the city of Los Angeles, you can get a digital card online for free. Check it out at lapl.org/emedia. That's lapl.org/emedia.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Judith Hill's just name dropping up in here. And she was talking about as a kid. Let that ride, Miles. She was talking about as a kid growing up in a house, and Billy Preston and Sly Stone and other artists are hanging out at the crib. And so it was impossible for Judith Hill to not be an amazing artist herself, being taught by both her parents, who were musicians themselves. And here she is years later, hanging out with Prince and Michael Jackson, doing her thing. And I'm honored to have Judith Hill in studio, and her voice and her instrumentality is pretty amazing in her own right. She was telling me a second ago during that break that her parents are in her band. I asked her, I said, are both of your parents still living? She said, not only are they living, both of my parents are in my band. So I asked Judith Hill how it feels to have been taught by your parents. You become a star. You're hanging out with Michael and Prince, and your parents are in your band.
I mean, it's a pretty special thing. It's rare to have that sort of family unit being represented on stage, but it just feels like such a blessing. Both of them are incredible musicians, and we have like this chemistry and this energy on stage that people just love seeing. My mom, she's this Japanese little Japanese lady screaming on the B3 organ and everything, so it's really special.
Yeah. You guys get along well as a family. How do you get along as a band?
We get along, we get along. We figured it out.
That bandmate thing ain't always easy to navigate.
It isn't. No, actually it isn't. But we figured it out.
I'm glad to hear that. It's good to have your mom and your daddy hanging out with you. And that must be cool, too. When you guys travel, you're traveling as a band, but also as a family. I mean, the experiences must be pretty amazing. Yeah,
no, it's definitely like something that is just going to be, I'll always remember and cherish these. I don't take these days for granted to have my parents on the road like that and us to see the world and travel and make music together. Yeah,
that's a beautiful story. That in and of itself is just quite amazing to hear. Let me go back to this Black Widow thing. Again, the letter, the new project rather, from Judith Hill is called Letters from a Black Widow. I want to get back to Prince's final days, final hours, and your being with him on that plane ride. But before I do that, what I love about this project, aside from the beauty of the music on it, is that you leaned into the pain that you were feeling. Again, the project's called Letters from a Black Widow. You said earlier you didn't take kindly, nor should you have taken kindly to being called a Black Widow, and all that people meant coming after you unnecessarily and unfairly and unjustly on social media. But why lean into it? And I'm thinking as I ask that question about all the artists I know, all the comedians I know, the greats lean into their pain. Richard Pryor was the GOAT. Mm-hmm. Richard Pryor leaned into it. And every great who I've ever interviewed or known over the course of my career at some point decides to lean into that. And when they lean into it, oftentimes they create the best art they've ever created. Right. So in your world, and tell me why you decided to lean into this Black Widow thing and even call the project Letters from a Black Widow.
Yeah, I mean, I think every artist has a different calling in life, but I know for many artists, and myself included, I think we have a responsibility to be able to put to words pain and struggle so that other people who are in the same position can feel like they're not alone and that they have somebody else to really represent them. So, because sometimes it could just feel like a lonely space, and I really do believe that, pain brings some of the best music. It's just there's something spiritual about the human experience when we feel like we're at our wit's end and we kind of transcend that or we access that, and it brings a depth to it. And so I'm all about that. That's like one of my big theses in life, is really accessing pain and transcending it and not being afraid of it, and bringing community to help other people like in those places.
On a personal level, tell me more to the extent you're comfortable about how you navigated that process of people coming for you on social media, calling you the Black Widow. It's difficult enough to lose any sort of icon, difficult to lose any icon. And so Prince's untimely passing hurt a lot of people, fans all around the world, those of us who knew him and considered him a friend, as I did. I still feel the pain. I still miss him all these years later. And yet, you were in a different situation than all the rest of us who knew Prince, because you were being targeted by people saying nasty, ugly things about you online. How did you personally navigate your way through that? I assume your faith had something to do with it, but tell me how you got through it, Judith.
It was a very messy process. I think a lot of times I was angry that was happening. And sometimes I, was respond back, like, how could you say this, and kind of engage, which was really messy. And then I went to therapy a lot, and that helped me a lot. Is like going to therapy, having somebody like really professional that can help me navigate through something that I couldn't really navigate through. I had certain friends that I feel like could handle it, that were my support. But it took years. I think it took time. It like this album, I didn't start writing this material until like around 2021, but he had passed in 2016. So it took me several years to even get to a place where I can feel like I've healed enough to be able to speak on it, because of the first few years I was really a mess. Like I really went into depression. I kind of got paranoid of the world. I was like, I was like everywhere I went in public space, like in especially in the entertainment business, you just like, it felt like I was really like they were all talking about me. It was really crazy. It took a long time for me to sort through it.
Yeah. To the extent you're comfortable sharing it, and I asked this only because for years now, and of course every year on his birthday we just celebrated his birthday on. He wouldn't have, but we did.
Right, exactly. He'd be like, why are we celebrating?
Yeah, exactly. On June 7th, we just celebrated his birthday, and that of my brother Maury, and that of my trainer, Terry Claiborne. Just celebrated a lot of birthdays on June 7th. That said, I've thought many times about my final moments with him, my last conversation. And you never know. Of course, unless somebody's on their deathbed, you don't know this is the last time you're going to see them or talk to them. Quincy Jones, the great music impresario, says to me all the time, Tavis, live every day like it's your last, because one day it will be.
Right.
That's Quincy's advice, right? And there's something to that. But I think often about my last interactions with Prince, my last encounters with him, my last conversations with him, my last text messages with him. I think about those things all the time. What can you share about your last moments with him, because you saw him right there near the end?
Well, I know, I know that he was really, like, the last time I saw him really was coming off of his final show. He was really, he felt really proud of that show and just felt like that he had given his all. And we talked a lot about, like, music. I just remember we were watching, like, this old documentary of, like, Billie Holiday and, like, the 1920s. This is after the show, and he had said to me, we're back at that. Good luck with that. Like, it was really deep what he was saying, but he was kind of talking a lot about, like, the mountaintop experiences from the 80s, and just kind of like, I think he had a lot of thoughts. I don't know where his head is particularly, but I do know that he was definitely, like, reminiscing on a lot of things. And so it was a really bittersweet, because there was a lot of beautiful things he was saying and a lot of knowledge that he was giving, but it was also traumatic because he had gone through what he had gone through, and we were all just traumatized by that.
Yeah. What do you make specifically? It's my first time hearing this particular story from you. What do you make of your final conversation with him being one where he, in fact, was reminiscing with you? Have you thought about that?
No, I have. And, no one's ever asked me about that. But that kind of, like, it kind of messed me up. I have to be totally honest, because it was like, for him to, like, pass shortly after that, it really made me feel like an era had finished, like, musically. And, like, he represented so much of not just music but culture and, like, an era. And so for him to, like, reminisce, almost like knowing that chapter in music history had come to an end, really, like, made me feel, like, crazy to wake up the next day and to be like, okay, I'm still on this planet. This is totally different. It feels different. It feels like energy is left. And I think about that a lot as I'm navigating in this, like, new world, in this new space. In the music industry has changed so much that it's hard for me to make that transition into the future when I have so much like him, like, and just his stories and just that era, still in me.
We'll get to Michael in just a second, and again, you're being in both of these worlds, Michael and Prince. And I want to ask how you got into Prince's world and how you got into Michael's world. We'll do that in a moment. But speaking of Michael, I was with Prince. He invited me to go to Montreux. He's playing the Montreux Jazz Festival. He called me and said, T, what are you doing? This date, yada, yada, yada. I said, not much. He says, why don't you come to Montreux? So I said, why not? So I pre-recorded some shows for my radio show and my PBS program, got on a plane with Prince. We flew to Montreux, and I hung out with him for a few days in Montreux. And I had not seen him. This is the year that Michael Jackson died, and Prince played Montreux. I hadn't seen Prince since Michael had passed.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, Prince does an amazing show at Montreux, as you can imagine. Afterwards, we go to a little club where there's an after party. He stays there we stay there for a little bit. We go back to the hotel. And, of course, he had the nicest hotel room in Montreux. He's on top of a hotel, and the doors, these French doors, I'll never forget it. These French doors open up out to the rooftop of the hotel. And there are these beautiful lawn chairs and just a pool. He has all this private space. So we go out there, Prince and I, about 1:32 in the morning. And we sat out there and we talked until the sun came up. And I say we talked, we really didn't talk. Prince talked. Mm-hmm. I pretty much listened. But I hadn't seen him since Michael had passed. And for the first time in all the years I'd known Prince, that Negro sat for hours and talked about Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about Michael for hours.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been able to record it. I mean, it was an intimate moment, so I wouldn't have recorded it anyway.
Yeah.
But all I know is what's in my spirit and what I remember and what he said and the
Yeah.
reflections. It was the first time that I had ever seen him. For all that, who you with, Michael or Prince or Michael.
Yeah, right.
That night, it was abundantly clear to me how much he regarded and respected Michael and
Absolutely.
his craft,
Yeah.
his gift, his own and particular and peculiar
Yeah.
artistic genius. But I heard it for hours, and I just sat and listened like, oh, my God, this is Prince talking about Michael. And I'd known Prince for years.
Mm-hmm.
We had never broached that subject at all. And so I sat and listened to him talk about that. And so here you are now in the studio as a person who's been in both of those worlds.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get entree into Prince's world first, and then we'll do Michael a little bit later?
Well, honestly, with Prince, I was just doing a interview. I think it was Revolt TV, and they were like, "Oh, who would be your someone you want to collab with?" And I just threw it out there, like, "Oh, I love to work with Prince. He's like a big inspiration of mine." And then, like, a few months later, I get the call, like, "Oh, Prince saw this interview saying you want to work with him."
Yeah.
And he wants to call you. And so it was like this unknown number, and it was like, hello. He's like, Judith, hello. I heard you want to work with me. It was absolutely out of control. I was like, I would never dream that up in a million years. It was crazy.
No, that's his way. I've told the story many times. First time he called me, I hung up on him 3 times. I didn't believe it was him. I said, man, stop playing. Get off my phone. I hung up on that little Negro 3 times. And the third time he says, Tavis, do not hang up on me again. I'm in L.A. I'm at the Hotel Nico. Call here. Ask for me by name. They'll put your call through. Then I got scared. Like, did I really just hang up on Prince 3 times? I called the hotel. Sure enough, it was Prince. Wow. And I began our friendship. And the rest, as they say, is history. So I know that. When he called you and said, hey, you want to work with me, give me the next step. How did you end up working with him?
Well, we talked. That conversation lasted for about an hour or so, just talking about music, funk music, how much I had appreciation for music, for funk growing up. And then it was very long, maybe like 2 weeks after or something like that. I don't remember the exact time. Sure. He invited me to the Paisley Park and said, you should come down and just jam and see what's up. And the rest is history, as they say.
Wow. I love that. He was so just mercurial in how he moved.
Yeah.
I hear you want to work with me.
Right, exactly. You're like, what?
I love that. I love that dude. And I love Judith Hill. I'm glad to have her in studio. Her new project is called Letters from a Black Widow. When we come forward, more of her music we will share with you. We played the track already, Black Widow. We're going to play a couple more tracks, one called Flame, one called Runaway Train. So you get some more. I'm going to let you sample Judith's new project. And, of course, we haven't talked about her relationship with Michael Jackson as yet either. So I'm just delighted. We got another half hour to go with Judith Hill on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The Supreme Court is rejecting a bid to restrict access to the abortion pill mifepristone. The High Court unanimously ruled that a group of anti-abortion doctors who challenged the FDA's actions to make the pill more accessible did not have the legal standing to sue and threw the case out. The ruling will allow the pill to be mailed to patients without an in-person doctor's visit. The first black person to own a McDonald's franchise in Detroit, Michigan, has died at the age of 83. Dr. William Picard died yesterday. He bought his first McDonald's in 1971 in Detroit and also invested in MGM Grand Detroit. Picard also helped establish Real Times Media in 2003, which now owns several African-American newspapers. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
When you think of your go-to meal, what do you think of? Because if it's not the Wendy's Biggie Bag with your choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich, plus 4-piece nugs, junior fries, and a small soft drink, Wendy's Biggie Bag hits every time. So stop by and grab your ride or die meal. U.S. price and participation may vary.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers' 4-game winning streak was snapped by their former shortstop, Corey Seager, now with the Texas Rangers, hit a 3-run homer last night to spark the Rangers' offense. Seager's homer was all the Rangers needed to get the win. The Angels had 14 hits in their win at Arizona. The Boston Celtics are one win away from claiming the NBA championship. They beat Dallas to go up 3-0. The dynamic duos on both teams were on top of their games last night. Boston's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown combined for 61 points. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving combined for 62 for Dallas. The difference was that Tatum and Brown got far more support from their teammates than Irving and Doncic. The Celtics got a combined 45 points from Derek White, Al Horford, Drew Holiday, Xavier Tillman, and Sam Hauser. Game 4 is Friday night in Dallas. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you say you care about the community, you have to also care about the climate. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up?
I'm tired of feeling so bloated.
That used to be me. Then I got this.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right?
Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Sounds different, huh? This is Tavis Smiley.
Against the punches and blows, my hands are steady and my feet nowhere to go. I look into the eyes of a wolf and he starts to growl. I wanna run, but I stand my ground. The pressure is a cooking and churning. The blood in my veins, and it burns my fist aflame. I cock my head a little sideways, focus my eye and I sharpen my sight. Make 2 fists and I swing, swing. The hair goes wild and my body flies way up, up, up to the shoot, but down. 2 blinks and a round back off the ground. I won't stop. I won't stop. I won't stop. Give me chaos and give me pain, but you can't never kill my flame.
I'm a lyricist, and you can't fade the lyrics on that thing, Judith Hill.
Yeah.
Tell me about writing that one. I mean, the lyrics speak for themselves. The project is called Letters from a Black Widow. That track is called Flame. We were talking earlier about how she just leaned into it after Prince's death, after Michael's death, or actually the reverse, after Michael's death, after Prince's death. People start calling her a Black Widow just because she was in both of their worlds. She gets demeaned and demonized all on social media. Wasn't fair, wasn't just, wasn't right. But I'm grateful that she's leaned into it in her music. Again, the project is called Letters from a Black Widow. She ain't running from it. But the lyrics to that track, Flame, you put your foot on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically saying, give me chaos, give me pain, but you can never kill my flame. Mm-hmm. And so really, you know, as much as they hand it to you, you just kind of take that energy, you recycle it and turn it into power. And finding that a way to do that, you know, then nobody can really take you down at that point. You realize you're much stronger than you think you are.
Yeah. What have you learned? Since you went there, let me follow you, Judith Hill. You say we discover in life in these dark hours. if we navigate our way through them, that we are stronger than we really know that we are.
Mhm.
What have you learned about yourself? What has Judith learned about Judith over the last few years?
I think what I've learned is that I've gotten better. I've become better versions of myself with every iteration, where I just think like the world is just kind of collapsed on me. I wake up the next morning and I find that I'm a better version, like an upgraded version. And so it's just this weird equation of like the chaos and sort of like a renewal process happening. And so it kind of just gives you hope for the future, because you realize that there's nothing really, once you're not afraid of the worst things happening, once they've already happened, then there's nothing to really live in fear for. You can walk in purpose, and you can walk with courage and like be more on the offensive than trying to protect yourself, you know.
I'm gonna put you on this mic a little bit more.
Right, yeah.
Kind of offside, yeah. You know, you're a studio musician.
Yeah, I
You
was
know
like,
how this
I was
works.
looking, maybe.
Yeah. Get that mic in front of you. Tell me, we'll get to Michael here in a second, but back to Prince right quick. Tell me what your takeaways were artistically from being exposed to his level of genius. We'll get to Michael in a moment, but what did you take away as an artist, as a musician? What did you take away musically and artistically from being exposed to Prince in such an intimate way?
Well, I think one of the big takeaways from him is that he had such a transcendent message that it became genreless. It just became like, it sounds like Prince, that a lot of people say that's its own genre, you know. And so that was like really inspiring for someone like me who grew up around a lot of styles of music as well. When you have such a strong calling on your life, and they want to try to put you in these boxes and say, "Oh, you're an R&B singer. Oh, you're blue." Like, these are all ways to kind of keep people in like a real like neat little situation. But with Prince, he was just like, "I'm going to create art, and that's going to sound like me." And so you're hearing all these things. You're hearing rock. You're hearing orchestrations. You're hearing all these things that are really essence of him, but he's allowed to do it, and they just call the genre Prince. Like, you know, I think that's really, really awesome.
Did that exposure empower you to be unboxed as well?
Yeah, because I was in a box when I met him. I was signed to Sony, and I was going through that whole thing of like trying to do the thing before they say what it is. And he was like, "Why don't we just make a record?" And it gave me like real hope to be like, yeah, this is what I should be doing. Just make the music you want to make and keep putting it out, and be your own leader, your own, you know, boss.
Yeah. Speaking of boss, Prince was a boss, and so was Michael Joseph Jackson, another boss. Let me move now to Michael. We've talked about Prince a bit. Judith and I were laughing in studio. My producer, Faraji, stepped in there a few minutes ago during that break, and we were telling him, Judith and I really were telling him a story that he never heard before. I'm going to give it to you very quickly. Some of you know this story. You may have heard it, but it is a true story. Quincy Jones, I love Q, a dear friend of mine. Q was hosting a dinner at his house one night for Michael and Prince to talk about collaborating on the song Bad. Long story very short, Michael calls Quincy rather, from his car and says, "Q, it's Michael. Hey, Michael, is Prince there yet?" Quincy said, "No, Prince not here yet, Michael." Michael said, "Okay," hung up. 2 minutes later, phone rings. It's Prince. Q? Yes, it's Prince. "Hey, Prince, is Michael there yet?" "No, he's not." Prince says, "Thank you." Okay, hung up. This goes on for 2 or 3 phone calls. I kid you not. Michael is calling, asking, is Prince there yet? Prince is calling, asking, is Michael there yet? Neither one of them Negroes wants to be the first one there waiting on the other, because I'm Prince and I'm Michael Jackson. So they're both calling Q to ask if the other's there yet. Q finally says to Michael, "Michael, stop it." Michael, he knew much better, obviously. They'd worked on Michael's projects. "Michael, just get here. Just stop this." Michael says, okay, Q, I'll be right there. So Michael pulls up, comes inside. 2 minutes later, Prince calls, "Is Michael there yet?" Q says, "Yes, Prince, Michael is here." Prince said, "Okay, I'll be right there." So Prince pulls up, walks in the house, and Q has some hors d'oeuvres and some other things that they're imbibing on or intend to before they move into the dining room for dinner. And Prince says, "Before we go in the dining room and have dinner and get this conversation really started, I just have one question." And Q said, "Sure." Prince pulls out of his pocket a lyric sheet to the song Bad. And he points to a particular line and says to Quincy, whose line is this? And the line, Judith Hill, was,
your butt is mine.
Prince asked Q, he said, whose line is this? Your butt is mine. And Quincy said, that's Michael's line. And Prince said, thank you very much. Turned around and walked out of the house, not of the room, out of the house. The meeting was over. Prince was like, ain't nowhere in the world that Michael Jackson is going to tell me that your butt is mine. With that said, when we come forward, we will hear from Judith Hill about her entree into Michael Jackson's world. We talk about her entree into Prince's world. She's a bad girl. Her new project is called Letters from a Black Widow. We played Black Widow. We played Flame. When we come forward, we'll play Runaway Train and talk about Michael Jackson with Judith Hill on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Pardon the interruption. It's me, Tavis Smiley, here to remind you that we are now just days away from our historic Climate Justice Symposium live on C-SPAN this coming Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center. We are now pushing capacity, so if you plan to join us, stop procrastinating and get to KBLA1580.com right now and register. Attendance is free, but registration is mandatory. Black folk are flying into LA from all across the country to be in the room when we go live to the world with a stage full of black brilliance on the eve of Juneteenth. And you live here, you better get to KBLA1580.com right now and claim your seat.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Ready to re-examine your assumptions and expand your inventory of ideas? More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
Stratocaster and a backseat full of luggage, but I ain't got no man.
Tell me about Runaway Train, Judith Hill.
Yeah, this is kind of a song that just kind of sums up where I'm at in life now. We, as a touring musician, constantly on the road, you're just going, and sometimes I look back at all the sacrifices I've made to get to this point, and it's really been a beautiful thing. But yes, you kind of get hit to a place in your life where you're like, wow, like I'm maybe missing out on community, in love life, and sort of these other things. But on the other side of it, I'm making music. We're going from city to city, connecting with people, and it's just such a beautiful, powerful thing. But it does feel a bit reckless. It feels like I've pulled the brakes out of this train, and I'm not really sure if we're gonna crash and burn, or we're just gonna, the momentum is just gonna keep going. It's kind of like I've seen so many artists, and I'm seeing how everyone's learning how to take care of themselves. Some have not. Yeah. Some have really tragically not. Some have slowed down. Some have gone full speed ahead, and they're just building. So it's just kind of like a reflection on the life of the artist.
Yeah, it is indeed. And reckless, to your point, reckless can be sexy.
Yeah,
it can be sexy, but it can be deadly.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why I love the story earlier about how your mom and dad are in your band.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't be so reckless when your mom and dad.
I think that's why they're in. I have them in there too. It's like I want there to be.
Yeah, and on that track, I leaned into Judith. I said, I hear your mama on that Hammond B3.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard her working that thing out. Our remaining moments with Judith Hill. Her new project is called Letters from a Black Widow. We've been honored to at least be able to play 3 tracks for you: Black Widow, Flame, Runaway Train. By the way, I've been getting messages like crazy about that track, Flame. These people, they love that track. They love that Flame track. I figured they would. The lyrics just speak for themselves. And the thing about art, as you well know, I got to move forward here. The thing about art is, and I say this all the time, that I don't care what kind of art you're creating, whether you're a musical artist, a visual artist, a talk show host, whatever your calling and vocation, whatever your avocation is, your mission is to do your work and your witness so well that others can situate their humanity in your contribution. Mm-hmm. They need to situate their humanity in your artistic endeavor, your artistic expression. And so when you write a song like Flame, everybody else can situate their own humanity in that song, you got a hit. Her name is Judith Hill. Our remaining moments with her, and we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like if you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Did you know addiction to drugs like meth or cocaine is a disease and not a choice? But getting help is. If you have stimulant use disorder, you, your family, and friends may have a lot of questions, including where to start. Choose Change California can help. Make a change today and find a proven treatment option for you at choosechangeca.org.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Who do you trust to get at the truth? Tavis Smiley. That's who. The conversation continues right now.
Just a few minutes left here in our conversation with Grammy-winning singer and multi-instrumentalist Judith Hill. Her new project is called Letters from a Black Widow. Tell me quickly, I asked you earlier how you got into Prince's world. How did you get invited into Michael Jackson's world?
I was doing a jazz jam sessions at jazz clubs around the time, and I met a musician that said, hey, Michael is holding auditions for the female background singer. You should go out and try it out. And a long shot, I thought, I was like, okay, sure, it's going to be one of those, America's Got Talent, like millions of people around a building. But it ended up just being like a referral. It was like me and a couple others, and he ended up picking me, and I was like just coming out of like really college, not done much at all, and so yeah, it was really wild.
Yeah, I asked you earlier what you took away artistically and musically from being in Prince's world. What did you take away artistically and musically from being exposed to Michael? Every time I see that documentary, which I bought, This Is It,
yeah,
and I watched his practice, I watched how he did it in rehearsal, I watched I saw his ethos and how he did what he did. That documentary turns me on just watching how he did what he did. What did you take being in that space?
I think I took away just his ability to create something that's not just music, but like there's like this call to like something more transcendent and spiritual, and like to be able to dream that big and to make it come into existence. I think that's what I took away from, because I had grew up in a musician's home, but to see an artist make magic on that level was like really inspiring.
I'm not gonna call you Black Widow, but I hate you. I hate you. I feel blessed that I got to know Prince as well as I did, but to be in Prince's world and Michael's world, good Lord.
Yeah.
That's anyway, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I was teasing, of course.
Yeah, of course. No,
I love Judith Hill. All right, I got 90 seconds to go. I'll give it all to you. Are you touring for this? And if so, tell me about the tour for Letters from a Black Widow.
Yeah, we just got finished with our tour. We were in Europe for about 5 weeks. We traveled all over, and it was awesome.
London,
doing that.
Paris,
everywhere. Yeah. And we also did some dates in the States. We'll continue be touring the record in the States. So stay tuned for the dates are going to be posted on my website and everywhere.
And your website is
JudithHill.com.
There you go, JudithHill.com. So you're looking forward to the rest of these dates here domestically?
Yeah, we're going to continue domestically. We've been doing a lot domestically, but we'll continue doing more.
Yeah. Judith, I am surprised that as long as I've been in this space and you've been in this space, we never met really prior to today. So it's such a great honor to meet you finally.
So great to meet you too.
And I'm delighted to have had you on this program. I enjoyed this conversation immensely. I love the project. People are loving it as well. Everybody wants that song Flame. You can find it and all the rest of the songs on the album. It's called Letters from a Black Widow. Letters from a Black Widow by the one and only Judith Hill. Judith, good to have you on. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
Just like that, 3 hours gone. Today is Thursday, right, Miles? Am I right? I got it wrong last week. Today is Thursday, which means that tomorrow is the best of Tavis Smiley. It's going to be hard to pick 3 great hours from this week. You might have missed them, so check out the best of Tavis Smiley tomorrow. Until then, thanks for tuning in. And as always, keep the faith.